if you can just share or describe like the time, the moment, that feeling where this idea kind of, birthed in you of doing something or preserving the Sindhi culture. Like what led to that?
Yeah, I think it's a long story because I feel like it's my own disconnection from my roots that led me to be curious more about like my roots, which is also what led me to move to India. Like, and I remember when people asked me like why I moved here, it was like, well, I can't move to Sindh, so I came here. Because
Wow.
like, yeah, like I was like when I lived in London towards the end of my time there, so between 2016 to 2018, I got really into activism, feminism, like, and through those communities, I met a lot of brown people, like South Asian people, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, Indian people who were like born and raised in the UK or had moved there from a young age.
Mhm.
And they were so like connected to their roots and their culture. Like, when you asked me about festivals, I couldn't answer anything. But like they were really into their culture. And I think that I noticed that and it brought up something inside me in the sense of I realized how disconnected I am from my own and how much I have actually pushed my brownness away. I hated being Indian growing up. I hated being Sindhi growing up. And when I moved to London, I remember for the first few years, I actively also didn't want to have any Indian friends. And I also always felt really weird being associated with being an Indian in a way because it was just like technically my ancestors are from what is now Pakistan, but I'm not really Pakistani either. Um, so yeah, like I started to really prefer the word South Asian, which was also a common term over there. Like, and
Mm.
yeah, but as I was interacting with a lot of South Asian diaspora people, I realized how disconnected I was from my own roots and culture. And during this process, if I remember correctly, I just know that I was working on something, either this project or another project in university, but I was working on something. And I remember sitting in my living room and taking a Polaroid for something that I was working on. And then I suddenly had this really strong feeling in my body that one day I want to create something big about Sindh and partition. And I just knew that I wanted to do that. Like, and I've always known that I've wanted to do that. And so it really started when I was in London. And then what is something that you have been uncovering, like, and what is it that maybe you felt before we started this project towards Sydney's and after? I know like earlier you shared like the word pride, but I'm just curious to understand maybe some lessons that you feel like you have been also cultivating, learning, and collecting as you've been doing these interviews.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, when we started the project, I had like a lot of doubts of because that feeling of being a Sindhi and um, I was like, how I feel about being a Sindhi, how am I gonna like, you know, do this thing of bringing Sindhis to the forefront and everything. But I think my first interview with my chacha, like just the emotions that it evoked um, inside of me,
Yeah.
and uh, a lot of lessons. I also feel that when I was with my dada dadi, like I wish somehow we traveled back in time and you came into my life and told me about this project, and I would have asked so many questions and lived with them, listened to them. Like that was, I
Mm.
feel those were treasures, our grandparents. And I feel so much more connected and closer to them. And every Sindhi that I'm talking to is so like, I think they're they just like, there's so much pain and there is so much happiness that somebody is doing this, you know. So with every person that I talk to, it just, I really feel like it elevates me, you know, like, yeah, like I think I become much more wiser and like higher, or I rise above with every person that I speak to. And I'm becoming like more and more sure of what we're doing. Like there's so much power in this. There's so much gratitude for you, for, yeah, like very powerful.
Food, I think I like mostly Koki is the all-time go because
That I
it's
don't
something you can
love.
that you can have anytime, any occasion. Like it's a comfort food.
Yeah.
And then Doda is the favorite as a breakfast, especially in winters.
Yeah.
And pulao, Bastara jo pulao is also my favorite. I even love making it Bastara jo pulao because it takes a lot of patience to उसको onion को color लाने के लिए. And I think we celebrate Jhulelal Jayanti over here very nicely because we have a 2 or 3 day celebration.
Sindhi curry, the besan one, with rice and some motichur laddu, ideally,
Yeah.
is the best way to have it.
And Sindhi curry, chawal, and the aloo tuk. I love the aloo tuk with that. I don't know if you guys made it in your house. You know what sale bread?
Yeah,
Sale.
Salmani. Yeah. My mom would make salmani. I loved it too.
Yeah, I love it. Like sale money, and that's such a Sindhi thing, you know.
Gurpurab. Guru Nanak's birthday, it's coming.
Yes, yes.
And we wait restless. We are restless for all 364 days.
That every Sindhi family eats in Pakistan. That is dal chawal with mangoes.
So I quite like dal basar, and I can make it pretty well. Matar macaroni and chawal.
Yeah, macaroni.
So apparently, the Italians, when they were leaving India, they just like dropped a bunch of macaroni in sacks, like a train full of it, a bogie full of it, and the Sindhis didn't know what to do with it. So then they just like put it in the pressure cooker with like a bunch of things like aloo or matar or whatever, and that's how Sindhis have matar macaroni apparently. I did not know that.
One thing particularly that you have heard about Sindhis that come to your mind when I say Sindhi?
Sindhis are hardworking, honest, and very resilient community.
Yeah.
Business people.
Yes. Any lasting or very important memory आपके चाइल्डहुड से, बचपन से, कोई ऐसी मेमोरी हो जो आपको बहुत फ्रेश हो और बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट हो फ्रॉम योर चाइल्डहुड?
हमारा सिंधी स्कूल and its friends. They are very fresh in our minds. Our neighborhood, our childhood, that is very fresh. Because we lived in a Sindhi community. Our neighborhood was mostly populated by Sindhi people who migrated after partition as refugees from Sindh. And in our area, a Sindhi school was started for our community. And I have very fond memories of those days.
So I have a very long relationship with my identity, as I guess most of the people that you would speak to do. I went to a Sindhi college. I studied Sindhi in class. I have read literature, um, but I still don't feel a sense of community, which I see a lot for people around me. Now I'm in Goa, and Goans are very famous for being very communal. Um, they have very close-knit sense of identity. And I've always felt like I don't have that. And there are many reasons why I think, Sindhis are divided in many ways. But I think in general, the thing that unites us is that we are always seeking more. We don't seem to be a very satisfied or complacent race of people. And of course, there are many reasons for that. But adhurapan is what I think is happening.
Okay. Okay.
And then people started coming to Bombay, and then I'm only from Bombay. My mom's from Bombay, but my dad's family is all from Bhopal. So just a lot of grit, There's like somebody who runs a laundry, there's somebody who opened up a fast food restaurant. My dad fully went into engineering and finance, made sure that others study. So and I've always noticed that, these people, they build businesses and then they want to hire people from within the community, like the sister's brother or this one's uncle or aunt or whatever. So a lot of grit, building things on your own, a lot of gall and a lot of guts to create something from nothing, from absolutely nothing, and no base and no network and no contacts, but just that, okay, I'm going to do this now.
Was there any emotion that you attached to this part of you that, is Sindhi?
I'm trying to think on that one. I don't know. It always made me feel a little bit. I didn't really know any Sindhis growing up. In fact, Bhumika and Sohana were the first Sindhis that I met outside of my family. Yeah, and at that point, I think I was 12 years old. So it took a while, for sure. And I was really stunned. And at that point, I really didn't know that much about my culture. So it was nice. And it was almost like finding like connection in this weird place. And I was like, oh my goodness. So yeah, just a little bit of alienation. And then disconnection as well, having a culture with a homeland that you're not able to access is a feeling that you don't really understand as a kid. And then as you grow up, it becomes kind of this feeling of just like disappointment, and frustration. Like it's home, but you can't go and you can't understand your culture and like grow roots there. Yeah, probably that.
Is there anything that you've heard growing up about Sindhis that you think is not true?
Sindhi darpok hain. Both are wrong statements.
Yeah.
Neither we are kanjus, nor we are cowards. We are resilient. We know how to survive in difficult times and difficult conditions.
Yes.
And not creating fights or indulging in unnecessary fights. We keep away from these conflicts, so other communities think that we are cowards. No, we are not cowards. And moreover, kanjus, yes, we came here empty-handed. We have seen difficult times. So it is natural for any community to be very, you can say, miser in spending on unnecessary things.
Yes.
And one good thing about our community, we be dependent on our own efforts, but never going out in the streets and begging for things.
Yeah.
So we did not take a easy way to rise, hard way to rise, without seeking help from any quarters, political or financial or begging or this thing, nothing. So these are the myths.
I think I grew up hearing, as I think all of us did, that Sindhis are very stingy about money. And of course, I would get offended. But then I would also be stingy about money. So took me a while to figure out why I'm like this. And I guess we are like this because our parents were like this. And I think our parents were like this because their parents came with nothing. And I think if you come with nothing, you don't want to go back to being with nothing anymore. And so it makes a lot of sense that you will hold on very tightly to the little that you have. Any other minority community put through the trauma of partition may not have survived the way that we have. And I think we have because we have this intergenerational knowledge of how to make something from nothing. And I think saying that Sindhis don't spend money is a one sentence way of summarizing what is a very long experience.
I have heard all stories from our parents and elders. They have told stories which are really very difficult to digest. How they managed. All of a sudden, if you are told to get out of this place, and very dangerous times, violence all over, kidnapping, killings, rape, murder everywhere. In those conditions, with a very large family of something around 60, 70 people, extended family including, of course. So they all have to pack up and with baggage, whatever they could, leaving behind the most precious things. And boarding the trains which were overflowing with people, and horror every time that they would be attacked. So somehow they managed to reach India by train through Khokhrapar Junction, which is the border between India and Pakistan.
Okay.
And they landed at Marwar Junction, where a refugee camp was set up by Government of India. So all the members, they stayed there in very, you can say, unhygienic and unsafe conditions. But gradually they moved to Ajmer.
Okay.
There they started small petty businesses, hired houses, and thereafter, with hard work, they established themselves very nicely, gave us education.
Yes.
And because of their foresight, today we are what we are.
Yes.
My father, your grandfather,
Yes, Dada.
he was very confident that I am safe in Pakistan, even after partition.
Yes.
He did not come with the families. He stayed back with a hope that things will be okay and he can continue to stay there. But it was his wrong notion. Immediately things started worsening.
Yeah.
So my great uncle, he went back to Pakistan to bring him back forcibly. And my mother, your grandmother, was expecting Duru, my
first child.
Yes. So my uncle forcibly brought him back to Ajmer, where they had settled. And on the way, it was a very harrowing time in the train. My mother, my father, and my uncle, they had dressed up as Pathans. And hiding their identity, they reached safely. And after that, it is history.
ऐसी थी कि उनके पास 2 टाइम रोटी खाने के लिए भी नहीं थी, because they were all like came running like that, leaving all everything there. तो मम्मी used to tell me कि कुछ भी नहीं हम उठा पाए, बस just हमको पहुंचना है, यहाँ से निकलना है, like that we have reached here. And here also she used to tell me that they came and placed in Purana Killa is a place in Delhi. So initially they were put over there, Purana Killa में. And Purana Killa was such a monument. कहते हैं पैरों में से ऐसे सांप निकल जाते थे तो हमें पता नहीं लगता था. And though no light, no water, nothing else, we used to be in dark only.
Oh my God.
Till that government made that refugees colonies and gave them.
And then she also explained they were like a family of 30 people when they arrived in India, and how they struggled in camps and how worst the camps were. And somehow the people who came, the older members of the family, they were doing businesses, and like वो होता है ना फेरी पे छोटे छोटे business करना, and they did that. And yes,
We had to leave behind a lot, and we had, something. We had some savings, or we had some wealth, or we had some land. Whatever, everyone's version is different, but I guess ours was that we had land that we left behind in the hope that we would come back. And I don't know where my dad kept it, but in the previous house, he had displayed this very large lock, like a very large lock, extremely thick, and like, this big. And I guess it was the lock to our estate, for lack of a better word. And he didn't have the key. And I presume that the key and the lock were separated at some point in their journey. But I felt like that was a very good metaphor for the experience of being this way, in that you have most of what you left behind, but without that small piece, what you have is not really, can't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, wow.
Sort of in order to shelter from that loss, the definition of being maybe to put it better, of being an Indian Sindhi, is more about other things, about what we can achieve, what we need to do, how hard we need to work, how much money we need to make, how much we need to hate Muslims, and less about acknowledging what we have lost. And maybe it's because it's too hard, to acknowledge it.
I remember my bua's family had a chota sa restaurant. And they used to sell all these mithai as well, Sindhi mithai as well. So there is this thing called shakkar para, if you remember. So Bua always used to bring shakkar para for me, and while feeding me shakkar para, she would tell me some random stories of partition. And I have like very strong, vividly, I can imagine, I remember lying in her lap and listening to those stories. So one of the stories she used to tell was that, of course, they had to, leave everything behind and come. So my dadi took some gold ornaments and she swallowed him before leaving Pakistan. And then when they reached, I think Indore, they reached, and she pooped and the ornaments came out, and then that was the initial capital for them to start everything in India. So that is very strongly, like, it's like imprinted in my brain.
about Sindhis कि Sindhis ऐसे याद होने चाहिए. They should be known or remembered with a line, with a message for the coming generations.
No, for the coming generation, I'll only say that, like we grandparents in the house, they should, I mean, start. Still, we are not talking. I'm not talking with my grandchild in Sindhi. So they make it a point that for the coming generation, they at least they are aware of the language. Here, so we have everything is being vanished. Like my grandchildren, they do not understand even a single word. But that we must stick to our language. We should not leave our language at all. It's a beautiful language. I mean, I to love my language, and I feel like speaking in Sindhi everywhere, wherever I.
Thank you. Feel a lot of gratitude for being here today. I know it wasn't easy to get here, and I'm very sorry that we weren't able to continue everything that you wanted for us at home. But we're still here. We're thriving, and we'll be here for a long time. We clearly can survive a lot. Sorry, I'm like tearing up.
That's okay. You don't have to be sorry. I'm tearing up too. Yeah.
They want to talk English, like they want to look like foreigners. But actually, we are Sindhi, we should look like Sindhi. We talk Sindhi. You talk English, okay. You talk any other language, okay. But the most important is we as Indian, we must talk Indian also. In the family, in the house. Yeah, it's your mother tongue.
To be able to reconnect with our identity in a way that is comforting to us, whatever that may be. The reason I say it so explicitly or so oddly is because I think that I see people at the temple or at the Gurdwara or at Cheti Chand, or I see Sindhi people outside in the world and I say, hey, are you Sindhi? And they say, yeah, but it's kind of like, yeah, don't ask me about it, And I think that's sad. While I understand it, and as you said, right, I think we have all gone through that experience. So clearly, the way that our parents maybe came together as a community does not work for our generation. And that's fine, right? But that doesn't mean that we don't do anything. I think we should find our own way of connecting with each other. And I think this project, for example, is a great example, right? Of like we are two people connecting on the basis of identity in a way that is very comfortable for both of us. I think, it's a new way of doing this, right? People in our parents' generation wouldn't have connected like this. So I think this is a great example in that. So more opportunities to connect with each other, in maybe because I think one thing that stops people from connecting in these old ways is that people are not so religious anymore. So they don't want to go to the temple, they don't want to go to the function. Okay, that's okay. You don't have to be religious, but maybe there are other ways that we could. I'm sure art is one way, food is one way, right? We could, if we can't do Cheti Chand Jo Melo, we can do, Koki festival, I guess. Like there is Momo festival. we could do Koki festival, I think. And the second thing I think is for Sindhis to have the right to see their homeland. I think to have to be able to easily, it would be such a healing experience to be able to go somewhere and say, hey, this is where my ancestors used to live.
Yeah, man, we're all the same. It's just that गोरे ये boundary बना के बीच में हमारे चले गए हैं, and we just not trying to get over it, just get over it,
I know. That's such a powerful statement. Yeah, I wish that happens.
I think our generation is so evolved that we see through it, right? It was never our agenda. अब आपको समझ आ गई ये चीजें तो just try to make it better, just unite.
Yeah. The first thing that comes to your mind when I say Sindh.
The connection with my ancestors, it really just when you asked me that, the only thing my heart was feeling was home. And like even recently when I'm speaking to people, I've always said like when I've referred to Sindh, I've said it as like the land that my ancestors are from. But these days I'm saying the land that I'm from. So Yeah, feels like something has shifted in my own relationship to the word and the land.
Yes, I would. Especially to go and see that place that Dada wrote in his diary about the fish and all. I would love to go there.
For sure. Yeah. Each time thinking about it gives me goosebumps.
Ekdam at once.
Yes, yes, yes. I have dreamt of wanting to go back and just walk around, take it in.
Yeah, 100%. For sure, yeah.
If my safety is ensured, yeah, why not?
Absolutely, yeah.